Okay, the next part of our event will be about mobile marketing, and actually the thing is why it's about mobile marketing, because right now it's a trend, and let's say 2011 became a year when marketing specialists start to boost, let's say, interest to that possible channel of promotion of business. And today we would like to talk about, let's say, practical things in this field. Actually, what is working already here on the Russian market and what kind of trends actually would come soon here. And the main idea of this panel is to see what kind of tips business can implement on a daily basis already now, or it's better to try because your competitors would do it. I would like to ask, first of all, how many people here actually using mobile marketing as it is for promotion their business? Okay, just few. Majority of people who are here, could you please hands up those people who are developers? Like one more time, because I saw that they want to. Okay, less. Okay, seems people just got the possibility to get out to have a coffee break. And marketing specialists, few, okay. People who are connected with the business development as it is, okay, 1, 2, 3, okay. Seems other people are connected with something else, like media, yeah, media also. Okay, so I would like to introduce you our speakers. First is Zoe, please. It's a co-founder of Xyologic, the service which is providing detailed statistics about apps globally. Right now they are presented in 29 countries all around the world, and I think they have plans to expand, most probably. So Zoe today will present us the most relevant statistic regarding the apps world. Another speaker, I don't see them, yes, Igor, please, also on the stage. Igor's co-founder of digital consultancy agency, let's call it like this, yeah. They're providing, let's say, tips for business who would like to implement mobile marketing in their field. Emin, please, on the stage. Emin is a presenter and managing director of the company which is called Lumata Group. Before they have, most probably they have right now, and before they had a connection with the Buongiorno agency, and they are providing really good consultancy and also solutions for the business who would like to use mobile marketing and mobile, let's say, services in a serious way. Then, please, Ekaterina. Ekaterina is a presenter of the company, which the name is Nevosoft. They do casual games, and this is one of the key players on Russian and Swiss market. So we will talk quite a lot about marketing, mobile marketing in their field also. Andrei, please, also welcome you on the stage. Andrei is a presenter, is an account manager, key account manager from WapStart. It's also a leading player on the mobile advertising market. So here we will have a specialist in this field. And that's it? Yes, that's it. I was counting somebody else, I think. Okay, so maybe I will take some place, not to stay, yeah? And the way, as I mentioned for you, like our section is about practical tips regarding mobile marketing and actually how you can implement that in the business. And I would like to start with Zoe. And because, let's say, when we're talking about mobile marketing, first of all, we're talking about user behavior, which changed quite a lot. And based on statistics, everybody, I think, knows that users right now, let's say, prefer prefer to use mobile apps instead of mobile browsing. So could you please tell us what does it mean for the business actually, and what they should mention for themselves in future, let's say, strategies?
Okay, can you hear me? Hi everybody. Well, in terms of the user behavior as such, I think that more competent and that will be companies who actually develop the games. Maybe Ekaterina can tell more about it. But in the data that we have in Xyologic, what we see overall in terms of market trends is that definitely there is more and more apps added every day to the app stores. So the number of apps growing in the app stores exponentially. So only in January there was 100,000 new applications added to app stores worldwide. This is more than there were internet websites created in the 90s, right? So you could speculate that this is as big of a trend, app economy, as internet was when it started, right? Second of all, of course, the data consumption is growing dramatically as well. This is clearly driven by the applications compared to mobile websites. Probably you know that actually the true data consumption on iPhone started with the introduction of App Store and not with the introduction of the nice Safari browser, right? So the Safari didn't really change anything in terms of mobile browsing, only application changed. Time spent, probably everyone knows the Facebook statistics, right? People are moving clearly to the mobile Facebook, definitely not the online version of it, and this is probably it, right?
From your point of view, this is influencing on the strategy. I mean, the way how business right now is reaching the new target, actually.
You mean, what do you mean? Sorry?
I mean, in the case of mobile, let's say, mobile usage in general, user behavior that people prefer, for example. For me, it's much more easy to take the smartphone, and to find what I need than to find, for example, a computer to do that. Because
sure,
this is a daily life. How it's good.
Yeah, I think everyone should really very carefully observe what's going on in the market. There is currently it's a two-horse race, right? There is Android and iOS, more or less. Android is slowly overtaking all the countries in terms of monthly download numbers. So in January this year, in Russia there were more downloads on Android than on iPhone. For the first time, so suddenly Android generates more downloads in Russia than iOS does. And also very important to see is that Windows Phone 7 is also a platform that should not be forgotten, I think. Nokia and Microsoft, they have huge experience in all these countries where feature phones are currently most popular, and definitely this war between these platforms is not over, right?
Why do you think it's happening in Russia? What is your point of view?
It's hard to say what is happening particularly in Russia, but definitely Android is overtaking slowly iOS, right? So it's going to become more and more important. Windows Phone 7 is also slowly, it's growing really, really fast. So suddenly you see all these numbers being noticeable. I think there was like 40 million Android downloads in Russia in January, and 33 iOS downloads, and maybe 2.5 million Windows Phone 7 downloads.
I would like to pass maybe some word to Ekaterina to ask her, let's say, experience and maybe case studies, because what I know that she has passion about Android market and also usage of this platform for the business promotion. So maybe you could tell us what kind of experience you got there and why it's actually so effective.
It works. Actually, when entering Android market, we were quite worried about it because we had different expectations. We heard a lot of rumors about Android, and the rumor number one was that there is no money on Android. The best rumors we heard was like Android only gives about 30% of what Apple App Store gives. So we made our own expectations, like plus minus 10%, and entered the market. Actually, what we expected, we received a much better result. I can say now Android gives even more. It can give even more than the App Store can give.
Some numbers, maybe some kind of comparing.
I cannot give you exact numbers, you understand, but the Android market itself, so the single market, it really can give about 30% of what the App Store gives. But after you start submitting your app to the other markets and you start negotiating with them, and they even can promote your app because they are much easier to negotiate with than the Apple. It starts bringing more and more and more, and now it's like 150% of Apple, what Apple gives, especially, for example, the Amazon market.
What was the product? It was a game. Yeah?
It was a casual game called Dream Sleuth. Our first game we launched on Apple App Store, and it was like our icebreaker on Android market, the first game to enter it. And so we knew what to expect. We had numbers from App Store and had some expectations.
About audience, could you say something like the reactions or something? Because as I understood, you were impressed from the result.
Actually, it was really interesting. We are leading casual game developers in Russia, and we have our own portal called Nevosoft.ru. And for sure, we had some subscription letters for our customers. The first time we announced a game on the App Store, the audience from our portal Nevosoft.ru, they reacted it was kind of cold reaction actually, like, all right, you launched your mobile game, but Apple devices are quite expensive. But when we launched our first Android game, people were so happy. They were writing congratulations and writing many letters to us, like, finally you made a game for my mobile device, it's so great, I can play your games there. And we actually discovered a whole new audience there.
And maybe going back to Zoe, because let's say we had a very nice discussion with you not so far regarding things, how they will change. At Android and Apple Store, after Android market and Apple Store, after Apple bought Chomp, semantic search system. So what do you actually expect, and what are your predictions if it will be so effective like it is right now at Android market, or something will change?
All I'm gonna say right now is gonna be sheer speculation, so you need to. So you know that Apple has acquired a search engine recently, the Chomp.com. I'm not sure if you guys know it. It's pretty much like a Google for Apps service. So it's got like a search field, and you can type any name in it, and then applications are gonna come up like in Google. Apple bought it shortly before Mobile World Congress for $50 million. There were many companies in the pitch, as far as I know, to buy this service. And Apple plans to simply integrate the service in iTunes. What will change, I suppose, if this really happens, is that suddenly all the developers of applications are gonna have a completely new way of marketing the apps inside iTunes. So all the leaderboard marketing that is currently the dominating strategy, right? So how to get to the top 25 or whatever, is gonna be over pretty much, right? Which is, I think, very good actually for the market, because there is only so much space on the top 25, right? I think every month we only see about 2 new applications going to the top 20 in the leaderboards. So it's very, very hard to get in and get visibility. With the new search technology, if they add something like Google AdWords, right, or the Google AdSense style advertising, suddenly we all are gonna see much better possibilities to market our games and applications in the iTunes Store. This is also, of course, meaning the end of the so-called SEO in the markets, right? Which is pretty much playing, as you all know, with the keywords in the name of the applications or in the description of the applications and so on. That's gonna be the end, I say it, because Chomp search engine is a semantic search, like Dasha just said. That means that if you search for stuff like diet, not necessarily you're gonna get on top the games or applications that contain this keyword in the name, right? So Chomp really understands what the application is about and what is the user's intent in the search field, and then puts the results on top.
Okay, so maybe, Ekaterina, what do you think? In this case, what business should take? Any steps, any tips, let's say solution, what kind of things? Because it will be at your side also.
Yes, for sure. I think that now everyone should look at what Chomp does very carefully and to investigate what they're doing, to analyze, because things are going to change. For now, we have on the App Store, we have about 100 bytes for keywords and 245 bytes for app name. And that's all what the search engine is searching for. So it's looking at the name and it's looking at the keywords. Things are going to change. The point is to find out what to do, how to deal with it, and maybe there's going even to be a new profession. The App Store
that's
specialist.
What do you think, Zoe? New profession or?
Probably new profession, I suppose.
Some people will do good money.
I mean, it's going to be much more. I mean, nobody knows how this algorithm is going to work, right? Which I think is part of the game. Nobody really knows how Google algorithm works. It's just supposed to be effective, right? It's not supposed to be manipulated. And the same is going to happen with iTunes. I am actually particularly interested with what all the other companies are going to do, like, say, Windows or Google, or, you know, HTC, or whoever App Store owner, right, or Yandex for that case. Because imagine if all the developers now will have an opportunity to effectively market their applications and games, to reach their targeted audience with an iTunes store, with the introduction of Chomp, then suddenly it's going to be even more of an intention for intention for us to develop for iOS, right, rather than for Android, because in Android it's still constantly this leaderboard game, right? So I'm curious what's going to happen. I don't know. Maybe Google is going to introduce a competitive thing as well.
So in this case, like a resume, yeah, Apple has usually provided an unusual solution for the things that never could imagine.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, then this is about apps, and because mobile marketing in general, it's not only about apps and promotion of them, it's also about a lot of other things. I would like to ask Emin, please, because I know that you implemented on the Russian market quite a lot of practices from abroad because of your partnership with global agencies. So maybe you could tell us about, let's say, what you are taking here for your clients, for example, for the Orange, and how it's working here, and if it's worth to do it, and actually how it's gonna to be.
Sure, thanks. When we look at mobile marketing, of course, a lot of it is about the apps, but then there is another side to it, which is working with brands that are global, such as P&G or L'Oreal or Samsung or Panasonic or Volkswagen, and trying to see what works for them in mobile marketing and what doesn't. For ourselves, we have divided the approach into 4 distinct different areas. The first area is brand activation. How does the brand present itself in the mobile space? A few years ago, the question was how the brand presents itself in the digital space, then in social media. Now we're all moving, on the brand side, we're all moving to mobile. And I'm saying on the brand side because a very large part of what we do at Lumata, which was formerly Buongiorno, but that's another story, is working with mobile operators around the globe. In Russia, we run the biggest mobile operator loyalty program called MTS Bonus. You probably heard about it. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because we're taking a lot of lessons from there. We're taking a lot of knowledge and insight from working with mobile operators, and we're applying it to the work we do with brands. So for the brand side, the first step out of the 4 is to see where the brand is right now in the mobile space and to sort of chart out the journey that they will take through the mobile marketing territory. Then once we do that, the second step is working with the customers. So customer acquisition. What does that mean? Where do we have all the touch points of the brand and the customer, and how do we get them to come to see what the brand is doing? Then it's about the customer engagement, whether that's point of sale, whether that's in the physical world or online or in mobile. How do we work with the customer to actually make them buy something, make them like us in the mobile space? And that's all about engagement, so that's a totally separate area where there's a number of tools. And then the fourth area, the fourth space where we play is customer retention, and that's the different loyalty programs and vouchers or mobile coupons, for example, which we give to the returning customers, or just because they have been with the brand for so long, or just because they bought something once, and we want to make sure they come back and do that again. So if we go through cases, examples, an example of brand activation that we have done, a relatively recent one, which is a couple of years old now, is working with Nestle. Nestle has a number of food brands in their portfolio, and in France we did something which was exact replica of what Kraft did in the US a few years ago. We built a mobile app for them, which was a database of recipes, and in each recipe there was one or two products that were done by Nestle and featured in the local supermarkets in France. So the idea is that you create a helpful tool which for some time was a #1 app in its category in whatever Android or iOS stores, and a customer takes that app, which is a list of recipes, and then decide what they want to cook, and they take that to the supermarket, and Nestle provides them with a discount, and at that point it's very easy to do the customer engagement, which is, here is a coupon, go buy it for the first time, and if you like it, here is some more coupons. Now you're going to be buying it again and again and again. And if you want to do another recipe, here is what else we can sell you. So this is where a lot of cross-selling is happening, and that's where we do the customer retention, so we make them come back again and again and again. So that one I have a lot of examples, I just don't want to waste
I wanted to ask you, so this was example what was working in France. Actually, coming back to Russia, actually here the audience, yeah, it's different. We know that, for example, mobile users are spending at an average more than, for example, European users. Yeah, how do you see the possibilities here? What actually works here for which type of business? And what are your, let's say, tips and practical advices in this case?
For Russia, where I see a lot of potential is working with retailers. So large retailers such as IKEA or just megas themselves, or chains of X5 stores, for example, they're all moving slowly in that direction. Usually it starts with a plastic loyalty card that gets converted to a mobile equivalent, or Sportmaster is a great example of working in this direction. And right now we just need to have a critical mass of consumer who are actually comfortable using it and want to use it. So far, I haven't seen any major examples, and we are talking to the brands all the time and offering them to try pilot programs. And a lot of it is, when you have a retailer, it's usually a local one, so they are just learning as they go with their experience. But if it's a brand, just like for some of the major global brands here, they used to get a recommendations from the headquarters, guys, you have to try social media, and they would go and allocate part of the budgets and try social media. Now it's time when they're starting to get recommendations, guys, try mobile marketing, it's going to work, and they are going out and starting to try mobile marketing. But so far it's just about a brand like Pampers, for example, creating a calendar, like a pregnancy calendar or some other calendar, and then promoting it through a network of apps. And that's pretty much all they do. Our own quite successful program here in terms of mobile marketing, pure mobile marketing or vouchering, is something that we did as a pilot for about 10 months with MTS and Karo Film. We created an ability for people to go into any Karo movie theater in Moscow and St. Pete, and on any Tuesday get a second ticket for free if you're an MTS subscriber. So all you have to do was just send a short code to your cell phone, to your carrier, to MTS, and they would send you a voucher, which is a mobile coupon, and you come to any cash register at Karo Film, you show that coupon, and you get a second ticket for free.
I know that this case study was taken also from abroad. That you get first it in UK, most probably it was, yeah.
Yes.
And then you brought it here. Well, any kind of comparing, you know, like the audience, let's say behavior, or maybe some kind of numbers in the way how do they interact with the.
Well, for Russia, we only had a 10-month pilot, and we are working to see how we can expand that now that it's over. It just ended in February. For the UK, the program is called Orange Wednesdays, and it was started back in 2003, and the idea is the same, only it happens on Wednesdays, not on Tuesdays, because Wednesday used to be the least busy day in a week for the movie theaters in the UK, so people would go list on Wednesdays to movie theaters. Now it's the highest day in attendance after Friday and Saturday after 8 years, and that's because Orange just did this program where they would offer everyone a second ticket for free on Wednesdays. And the dynamic Orange doesn't disclose the numbers. The movie industry doesn't really want to disclose the numbers. But basically the program has been very successful. It's been running from 2003 to 2011, and it only keeps growing. And we recently added something else with Orange, which is you can rent a DVD for free through iTunes. So not a DVD, but a movie through iTunes on any Thursday. So on Wednesdays you go to a movie, second ticket free. On Thursdays, if you're an Orange subscriber, you can go and get a free download from iTunes.
Does it mean, from your point of view, what I understood, like for any business in Russia, mobile marketing is okay to use or not? Because the thing is here, as I already mentioned, is about environment and a small target group which you can reach. So could you just name the type of business for which it works right now in case of mobile apps or SMS vouchers or some special games and so on, what you're used to do?
Well, in Russia, compared to the West, there are fewer industries where it would work. Naturally, if you are a mobile operator, of course, you're already doing something in there. If you are a large retailer chain, whether it's electronics or food or something else, it works very well, and that's where the efforts of the brands should be. If you're a large national brands, consumer staples or anything, it should also work for you. Anywhere where repeat purchase is important, basically. If you're a car manufacturer, it could work for you, but only as a tactical campaign, because people don't buy cars all the time. It doesn't really make sense to, create these programs around vehicles, right? So if it's anything, if you're a large electronics manufacturer and people only buy a refrigerator once every 3 years, it probably doesn't make sense. But if you also sell cell phones, that's the category where it will probably make a lot more sense. So it really depends on the type of product and how often people buy it. And the more often people buy it, or if it's a physical location that they come to, that's where mobile is the most useful.
Okay, continuing the topic about what is working in Russia, I would like to come back to Ekaterina, because I know that she has a very interesting case study regarding that it's possible to create an app just for Russian target audience and reach a revenue and also really good target audience in general. Could you tell us about this, please, more details?
Oh, it's working. Actually, what I think that the key to the success of the app, for example, if you're an app developer and you developed your first app and you want to earn some money on it, is to localize it. But if in some case you made an app that only works for Russia, you should try really hard to learn to earn money on the Russian market. Actually, as our experience shows, Russian market can be unexpectedly well going with money, because one of our apps, just because of it was popular.
Which kind of game?
It was an arcade game, our Super Cow. It became very popular in Russia. it was more about the power of the brand, because it was one of our most popular games in the PC. And then on the iOS, it became #1 on Russian App Store and stayed there for about a week on the top 10. And we received really great results. But if you want to receive even better results, you should care about the localization, not only into the English language, for not everyone speaks English, not everyone understands it. And especially when you are playing a game or dealing with the app that has great amount of text, you should care about other languages too, especially about Chinese, for example.
Okay, that sounds clear from the beginning, but it would be great if you will provide, let's say, more numbers, let's say, and examples in case of your practical case study. In this case, I would like maybe to move to Igor, because I know that he has some interesting things to tell us. And maybe we could continue with the money transfer, mobile money transfer, because this trend is also quite actual right now in mobile marketing, and a lot of your clients, because I know that you're mostly working with the banking sphere, they consider it as a possibility. So could you tell us, please, maybe what you found out is working abroad and actually it's totally different here on the Russian market?
Sure. Thanks. Well, the thing is, from the nature of my job description, I'm not dependent either on a platform or a method how to reach people. And we actually do work a lot for the banking sector, and and we're looking at different patterns. And one of the patterns, especially in the Facebook IPO, that I found very interesting is they're saying, well, a lot of their users are moving into the mobile space and spending much more time on mobile devices. Facebook actually acknowledges the fact that it's really hard for them to monetize it. And that's why they're kind of looking in how do we kind of monetize, not through the classic marketing approach, the ads that you see on the website, their platform. And one of the things that they're kind of looking very closely into is basically mobile banking and what it means. There are no concrete details that they're speaking of, but I think it's very likely to discuss the fact that they're probably looking into providing their users with a credit card and money transaction methods. And I think that a lot of this is connected to NFC, and there's a lot of talk about NFC being a very easy way to transfer money. I think that needs to be proven. While there was a lot of chatter about this at the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, I don't actually see anybody providing the users with a better experience through NFC than through a credit card. Because if you pull out if you have to pull out your phone and kind of like type in your password and then push the button that you want to pay, I don't actually think it's quicker or safer than with a credit card. So I'm hesitant on the NFC part for mobile banking.
But from this side, what do you think? Because actually, as I mentioned before, you're working mainly with banks, so their vision to mobile marketing, because they would like to implement it as a possible service for the client, and let's say how do they see a potential, and also what kind of features they are ready to implement, and then we can go ahead and, for example, compare who is already doing this.
Well, I think for the finance sector in general, there's the problem. The problem it's a low interest market. It's we don't like to think about our bank unless we need to, and when we need to, it's usually not a good thing. And for that, it's a different engagement than with a brand like Nike or Adidas or something like that. So we don't like actually to be friends with our bank on Facebook. It feels unnatural. And for banks still to operate in this field, it requires for them to extend their services into different areas, and that means how do I speak to my clients in Facebook? And it usually means that you extend your services, that's what you do for your client, into their sphere. and money transfer is just very important. I mean, micropayments have been something that people try to do for years and years now. Nobody managed to do it, and I think that we're, except for Japan, yes. But Japan in general is off the charts, and it's kind of like, it's a market that isn't in any way comparable to, I think, Western societies.
So you don't think that Japan experience will soon have the same thing, for example, in UK, where it's almost common thing?
I think to a certain extent it will, but not in total. I think one of the things that is not importable from Japan is the way people interact with technology. And I'm based in Berlin, and Germany especially is very conservative in that regard. And Germans really like to wait for a long time before they adopt something. And then when they do, they actually spend a lot of money on it.
So you do not make push case on mobile?
Well, I think we will pay, I think we will spend money on mobile. I mean, people already do. And I think that people will also be glad to have the opportunity to kind of like send money from one phone to another, but I'm not sure if the current discussed solutions are the way to go.
Can I ask a question, actually? So, two questions, actually. Number one is, what do you think of Square? Because this is like a huge adoption in the US right now. I mean, this company is just rocking, right? And it's both in terms of, you know, the cash register in the office and in terms of my wallet on my phone, right? And number two is in terms of money transfers and so on. Japan is one extreme, like the super advanced, but there is also, I'm a lot in South Africa, like people transfer money there with their mobile phones all the time. Like this is my banking device basically. They never go to the bank. They work with mobile phones only. Yeah.
And regarding Square, actually, it has quite a lot of clones right now all over the world, or in Europe. I know at least a couple of tons.
Exactly.
Square is extremely interesting, and because they actually find new solutions. They're actually not trying to just, you know, give you mobile banking, like online banking into mobile banking. They're actually looking at how do I supply the people who don't have access to credit card payment systems with an easy solution to do that. And I think they're showing how like companies like Visa and MasterCard, how it's done. And I wouldn't be surprised if they actually would, at a certain point when they're large enough, because while they're growing fast, in comparison they still have a very small money transaction revenue.
12 billion?
Well, I mean, compare that to Visa, that's still very small.
Course, yeah.
But I think at a certain point they will get to we don't need MasterCard and Visa card to send money. I think they will do that, but it will take them time. And as for markets like South Africa, I think the crucial point there is people weren't used to do all those things on computers. They basically jumped from not having access to digital devices to just into mobile market, and that changes behavior. That kind of like they don't think about mobile banking, like banking, as something that's bound to browser on your computer.
In this case, what I would like to say, let's see what will happen when Facebook will create a home bank and how the way of interaction with the mobile devices will change and making push case. Okay, continue the topic regarding mobile payments. I would like to ask Andrei, because Andrei is presenting, let's say, one of the most, not like I would say well-known service, because mobile advertising it's something which became already usual for customers. It's like context advertising, so more or less clients are common with this service and they are ready to pay for it because they know what they will get. But here is my question. So based on the last research from Nielsen, There is some kind of interesting comparing that, for example, US users do not trust mobile ads at all, and for example, European users, they much more likely clicking on ads, and they do push case on their smartphones, on their tabs, comparing with US users who do that on PCs. What is with Russia actually? Where is the difference actually? What's happening here? What users are doing here?
Here the Russian audience are more similar to European audience, so people are more likely to watch an advertisement than to go to their desktop PC and to make a decision whether they want to buy or not. But I think we have some our audience survey and the latest survey from December showing great increase in audience interest to the mobile advertising at all. So maybe I could say that people who were never clicking on the advertising in mobile web, who were only using a desktop to view and to make a purchase decision, are right now watching for the mobile channel. So they are really comfortable to view some additional information with their device, to view prices, near prices, and to make a decision for buy something later.
Do you have any kind of statistic? What kind of percentage of Russian users actually are push casing on mobile devices instead of PC?
Yeah, as for our audience, I could say that about 38% of audience who ever buy in the internet have some kind of relevance experience with buying things from a mobile device, whenever it's content or other goods. So, and that's good numbers, I think. And maybe we can see more interest to this channel for the next few years.
Do you think like this interest will be? Let's say everybody knows that screens becoming bigger and touchpads becoming like a usual thing in our life, and everybody are, let's say, curious to click on ads when they see something relevant. I think most probably important here to understand if you are ready to provide solutions for location, for demographical selection, and so on.
Yep.
Like WapStart in this case, and if it's possible, and what is the difference between this?
Yes, sure. So speaking about the audience, as we don't see much tablet users here in Russia, and we hear a huge interest to smartphones, especially to Android, comparing to what we see in Europe. So maybe the world market is more similar to European, as I said, and maybe devices which be at the top is the devices from manufacturer who use Android OS.
Okay, so seems Russian people using tablets just to read books. That's clear for us today. Okay, then maybe we have some questions from audience to our speakers. Any questions? Okay, there is some question, please. Please introduce yourself.
Здравствуйте, меня зовут Игорь. Значит, у меня такой вопрос. Могли бы вы рассказать более конкретные методы, как продвинуть там свое приложение? Ну, имеется в виду либо мобильная реклама, либо договариваться с сайтами, которые пишут обзоры о приложениях, либо просто, там, я не знаю, какой самый эффективный метод?
Как вас зовут?
Игорь.
Igor. So Igor is asking what are the best ways to promote your app. Actually, he would like to see this the real instruction from point 1 to point 10.
There is no answer. There's no answer.
Right?
There is like unlike online, right? And correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, of course, there is a set of methods that you can do. You can try to get promoted in iTunes, and you can, try to do like the keyword marketing and advertising, and you can play with, various ad networks and so on. But unlike online, where it's like pretty clear what you should do, in mobile, there is actually in app stores, in app economy, there is really no clear way. I think it's just emerging just now.
Anybody else from speakers? Katya, please.
As far as I'm doing mobile apps promotion almost every day, we are launching a new app about every 2 weeks to the App Store. I can say there are many ways to promote it, but I still can say what is the most effective one, because in every case it's different. Sometimes we meet a huge response from the audience when we publish our press releases and descriptions of the game on different sites. And we also ask them to review our games because we're almost friends with some of them, because we're negotiating for a long time. Sometimes they're doing it for free. And when they write great reviews, the response is just huge, and people start writing their own reviews about our games. There was an interesting case actually once when we published our strategy game on the App Store. I received a letter from the guy from Poland, and he wrote me, "Hi, my name is, for example, John, but I'm less than 18 years old, so I don't have a credit card, and I cannot afford myself to buy your game. But I played it on my friend's iPad, and I still want to get it somehow. Is there any possibility for me?" I wrote back to him and said, "All right, if you want it so much, go get it. Here is a gift card for $10. You can afford yourself the game now, you can play." And the guy started promoting our game by himself in Poland. He started posting to Facebook, he started posting to the Polish social network, he wrote his own review in Polish, and he sent it to the Polish sites that do mobile reviews. And that was something absolutely unexpectedly great. And it gave actually a huge boost on the Polish App Store.
Maybe like a short resume. Create a good app, like a qualified app, and your consumers will love you. This is the shortest way to explain how to promote it. Any more? Some more question? One more question from Igor. Okay.
Значит, у меня такой теперь вопрос. Знает ли кто-нибудь, насколько прибыльно делать бесплатные приложения с in-app purchase, например, социальные игры или журналы? Либо все-таки прибыльнее сразу продавать приложение за $1, за $2, и так сказать, больше прибыли будет от этого?
То есть вы имеете в виду, стоит ли делать лучше микроплатежи внутри или делать... So Igor is asking if it's worth to do an application which will have inside micropayments, or it's better to make an app which you will sell for the certain price, for example, 99 cents.
Definitely free.
Free app. That's
like the I think in the Russian market to get into. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't remember from the top of my head, but I think you need 100 times less monthly downloads to get into top 20 for free apps than for paid apps. So basically, if you're playing for the reach, you should definitely do the free app and then try to actually monetize it with in-app purchase.
I can say it absolutely depends on the app. And what I would recommend, for example, if it's a game and it has some standard monetization mechanics like try and buy, I think you should try both. You should make the paid version and to make the free version. What's for? Actually, when you open the App Store, you see top paid and top free, and these are different tops, and you can reach visibility in both of them. And actually, it's something about the consumer behavior that people, different people are looking at these tops. So top paid is mostly for the people who are ready to buy good content. Top free is for those who want to look at it first, try it, and then maybe buying it. But still, you know that social games, mobile social games, have great success, and people are buying a lot of stuff through in-app purchase, through microtransaction. So it absolutely depends. If you have a social game, all right, for sure, you should go for you should make it free with in-app purchases. But if it's something different, I think you should try both.
Okay, I think, Alexander is saying us that it's time to close, to stop. Thank you for our speakers for their time, for their nice presentations, and thank you very much for listening us. I suppose that you can come up with the questions in a coffee break, which we have right now, yes? No, not coffee break, okay, not in coffee break. Anyway, they will be here also. So thank you very much, and see you here in the morning.